Well, Mike, let's go back. Like, let's when you show up in the 3-4 and you start working at 3-4 and how you work yourself from patrol into anti-crime there.
Yeah,
and I got the 3-4 up on the screen.
That's the old one. Yeah, that's the one on Wadsworth Avenue. I got to work there for about a month before we moved into the new building on Broadway, around the corner. Crazy place. 155th Street, all the way up to the top of the island, from river to river. Largely Dominican neighborhood, but you had some other pockets. Still had the old Sugar Hill gang up on 159th Street in St. Nicholas. Those guys were a hoot. And we had believe it or not, a Jewish Cuban community on St. Nicholas Avenue up in the 190s. They owned all the restaurants and the jewelry shops. And you still had the Irish up in Inwood. So it was an eclectic place to work, but it was a busy place to work. Heavy narcotics, lots of violence associated with the narcotics. As I said, once I got into anti-crime, we couldn't get through a set without getting shot at. They knew who we were, even in plain clothes. We had to ditch the car 2 blocks away just to sneak up on a location. Oh, they were the boys. That's a team photo. Shortly, I think that's 1993. It was taken because I see I have my hair cut already. That appeared in New York Magazine. It's we're sitting on the hood of the unmarked, and if in the background you can't see it, is the George Washington Bridge. It's a pretty great photo. But those are the boys. That's the local motion team.
Mike, around that period, the 3-4 was leading the city in homicides for several years in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
In 1991, we had what was a record at the time, 134, or no, I'm sorry, 131 homicides in the precinct.
I remember that.
And we used to, we had a friendly bet going with the 7-5 anti-crime every year over who was going to lead the city in homicides. I never had to buy the 7-5 dinner. They bought our dinner. So it was nuts. The only thing that actually cooled the homicide number up there were the riots and the police presence in 1992. If those riots don't happen, if they don't flood the area with the police, we would have surpassed 1991's record numbers. And it was crazy.
Well, Mike, so to the extent that you're comfortable, talk us through what happened that day.
Yeah, I mean, it was interestingly enough, we weren't even necessarily looking to get on the sheet to make a collar. But I'm sitting in the back seat of the unmarked. My partner, Tom McPartland, is driving. Matt Bradisani's in the front passenger seat. And at the corner of 162nd Street and St. Nick, I look over and there's a guy inappropriately dressed because it was like 104 degrees and humid. And he's wearing a sport jacket. And his chin is on a swivel like he's coked out of his mind. And he keeps grabbing the lapel of the jacket and pulling it over his waist. Now, you can see something big was under there, but I'm not going to be able to make the shape through tinted windows. I want to get a better look. So I alert my partners. We know we're not going to be able to use the car to jump them because everybody knew the car. We had a logo on the back. It's a surfboard wax called Local Motion. It's the way that we got our nickname. And all the bad guys knew it. So what we decided to do, and we had done this in the past, is I was going to get out and just camp out on the corner and keep an eye on the guy. Because I never got made back then. I had a long head of rock star hair, 4 earrings, a goatee. And I had learned the secret, just don't make eye contact with anybody and they don't think you're the police. Nobody in their right mind makes eye contact with someone in Washington Heights unless they're looking to get shot or they're the police. Or both, possibly both. So I get out and I'm watching them. And the plan is they're going to come around from Broadway and up 162nd Street. And if it holds to form, when the call goes up, agua bajando, policia, the guy's going to walk directly in my direction. I'm going to put him on the wall. We're going to, the 3 of us are going to meet. We're going to take the gun off him, hook him up, and then we're back in the station house. Except he doesn't walk in my direction. He walks toward the building, which I later find out is 505 West 162nd Street. didn't know the address then, and that created other problems. And unbeknownst to me, as Tommy and Matt were coming up the block, a guy with a 357 runs out in front of the car in front of them. They think he's coming for me. So they get out and chase him. So I don't have any backup. When I catch this guy at the doorway of the building and I identify myself, pull the shield out from under my vest, policía no se mueve. Rather than comply, he elbows me in the throat. And since I'm holding on to him, when he backs up into that hallway, we are gone.
Yep.
We end up rolling around, fighting for his gun. And when we get into the hallway proper, it's just great big marble enclosure, more like a mausoleum than anything else, which is fitting because once I got in there, I didn't think I was coming out alive. He was big, he was tough, he was coked out of his mind, and he hit like a sledgehammer. But I held on and we kept fighting, careening from the floor to the wall. At one point, I lose the radio, which it didn't really matter because I kept putting over bad addresses. Nobody could find me. The radio was in pandemonium. People scream, cursing, "Where the fuck are you?" I don't know.
Yeah.
Best I could do was 162 in Amsterdam, and that's a block away from where I was. At one point, he manages to free his gun from his waistband, and he gets it up in my face, and now I wrestle it away from him. And we're continuing to fight and scramble. He manages to get up, and here's the other thing. We fought for 5 whole minutes. The time is on the 911 recordings. If you've ever been in a fight for even a minute, you know how exhausting that is. Yeah. 5 minutes is an eternity.
Yes, it is.
Particularly in 100-degree weather. He ends up breaking away from me and heading to the back of the hallway. And when I grab him and spin him around by his jacket, the first thing that comes up in my face is his gun. And it's literally in front of my nose. I grab his hand. But at this point, we're both busted open. We're bleeding. We're sweating. We are a mess. We have kicked the shit out of each other. I managed to pull his hand away from me, but I could feel it slipping right away. And as soon as his wrist slipped out of my hand, I turned my body a little, pulled out my revolver, pushed it out, and just as his gun crossed the front of my face, I let 2 go in his chest. He goes down. So now I'm thinking, all right, I got to cuff him. But I'm so exhausted, I can't get his hands behind his back. So I in the front cuff him. And now the first thing I do is scoop up and grab his weapon because we don't want that to do the Brooklyn bounce. Yeah. You think I had problems? Imagine if the gun had not been recovered.
That's right.
You know, then the riots would have been something even worse.
For sure.
So now people are still screaming, "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?" I'm like, I got to find my radio and find out. So I grabbed the radio and I put over a bad address again. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. So now I got to leave him in the hallway and go out to the front door and look up for the address. And then I put over 505 West 162. I got to perk down. I go back and I'm huffing and puffing over him and I'm probably zoning out. And the first 2 guys that come in are in uniform are Johnny D'Alessandro and Billy Nolan. Great radio team. Billy ended up a sergeant on the job in the 4-6, and Johnny ended up first grader in the 3-4 squad. So these are super cops. When they come running in and they see me, evidently I'm a mess because they start trying to peel my clothing off. I'm like, I'm not hit. They're like, what about all the blood? I'm like, I guess it's his. Actually, a lot of it was mine, but I hadn't been shot. And then they looked at the gun, and it was clearly not a police gun. I'm like, yeah, that's his. I'm holding on to that. And they grabbed me just as everybody was coming in and whisked me to the hospital.
You've just watched a clip from our live episode. Click the description to watch the full episode. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this.